already been.
Yeah.
Going around like lots of everything up there.
Apple tree down good garden.
No, I didn't have one
Stand
at
for
all.
the flag.
It's cheaper.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like us to stand for just a moment, please. In the last 5-6 weeks, the village has lost 3 special people from the village. Number 1 was Mrs. Jean Elk, who celebrated her 100th birthday this summer, and Alex Bay was her place. Number 2 was the passing of former Chief of Police Dan Sacco, who spent more time here in the village than he did with the New York State Police. And number 3 is for former trustee, deputy mayor, contractor around the village that donated a lot of his time and work for the village and the community, Jeff Hellick. We have just a couple of moments for those 3 special people, please. Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Regular board meeting, September 12th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Trustee Caputo. Here. Trustee Campany.
Here.
Trustee Demo. Here. Trustee Fulmer. Here. Mayor Jarvis.
Here. Public concerns. Any public concerns? Correspondence, no correspondence. Motion to approve the minutes, regular meeting August 8th, 2023, special meeting 8/11/2023, and August 25th, 2023.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Campany,
I'll second.
second by trustee Fulmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion track number 3.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Fulmer,
Second.
second by trustee Campany. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Trustee reports. Trustee Caputo, please.
No report.
Report.
I can say we had our last dock attendant leave on the 28th of August. She did really well. We actually had 2 female dock attendants this year who did very well, and I hope they want to come back next year. We had 2 guys that stayed all summer, and hopefully they come back too. The beach closed on September 4th. Labor Day was the last day. They all did very well, and we're working with Gregor and Attorney Burroughs on our water withdrawal permit, which hopefully comes together soon. And we're just waiting on a go for our grant for the water department so that we can start. That's all I have.
We took a walk around the pavilion today. Everything looks good. Fall is a beautiful time to enjoy the river out there. It was so quiet and peaceful and very relaxing and enjoying. I don't think there's anything else booked for the pavilion for the rest of the year. Jarrett, when do you plan on taking down the curtain? Is there a plan?
I was hoping to keep them up. I don't know if we still are planning on the Halloween get together up there. If that is the case, then I usually like to wait until after that, just in case it starts to rain or it's windy or getting chilly. Then I'd like to at least leave them up till then.
I think that's the 24th.
Okay. So probably it would be the week following that.
And so the bathrooms will still be open?
Yes.
At that time as well?
Yes.
Okay. Weather permitting, of
Yes.
course. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the library took their book sale down, and on August 30th, they had a reception for the Friends of the Library. They raffled off an electric bike, and they had 3 baskets, and I'm not sure how much they made on that. Their board meeting's tomorrow night, so I'll know tomorrow night. They are also looking for seals replacement. They've had a couple people apply, but if anybody would like to work at the library for 15 hours a week, have them apply. The golf course is fine. Couple complaints, but they were taken care of. We would like to try this fly is bugging me, whatever it is. We'd like to try to do a youth golf tournament next year, and I've been following the Elks in Watertown to see how they do that, and I've talked to the who are in charge of it. And this past summer, they had 60 kids register for their youth tournament. What we're seeing is we give these kids this free pass from the school, but they're not using it. Some do, some don't. And the same thing happened with Watertown Golf Club. Same thing was going on at all the golf courses, because a lot of schools offer this pass deal for the. So what the Elks have been trying to do is they mentor the children that want to golf, and all of a sudden they're getting all these kids that want to golf, because if we don't get these kids going on golf and being outside, they're still going to be sitting in their house doing you know what. So this was a way that the Elks in Watertown got the kids out. They have golf classes, which Hearts for Youth does. We have a golf class that they can take, and we just thought maybe it'd be a good idea to give it a try. So we'll see what happens. And they have different flights for different ages. There were 3 different age groups, and they got them these little medals, and that's the big deal, is to get that medal and a trophy, the little tiny trophies, because kids like that, we all like that. And what they did, they had sponsors that gave the money to serve the kids lunch. They didn't have a dinner like most of adult golf tournaments. You have a big dinner at the end. They had a lunch, because most of the morning they were golfing, and then they did a lunch and presented the trophy. So I'm gonna get with those people and follow their model, because it's worked really well. So that's one thing new we might try. Gordon Court meets next Tuesday, the 19th. So in October I'll have a report from them. I talked to the people that are in charge of the tree lighting, and they're all for doing the tree lighting here on a Friday night, the first Friday in December. And Jarrett said he has the lights and all that, but everybody still wants that tree downtown. Everybody does, because it's an Alexandria Bay symbol. So we'll work on getting that taken care of. Hearts for Youth has started their fall programs, and they were just awarded a grant from the St. Lawrence County Arts Council. A nice grant that allows us to hire local artists to work with the kids on adults. Molly was one of our artists. She did we did a painting. That's mine, that isn't done over there. We did sunflowers and bees, so she did, on a nice Sunday afternoon, we did that. And she was very well received, and people are going, can we do that with Molly again? Well, of course we can do that with Molly again. And so there's 4 other artists that are gonna work with the kids until Christmas time. And then we have to apply for another grant again. The Jefferson County Youth Bureau grant pays our 2 employees, plus part of our accountant's fees. So that's where that money goes. So I think that's all I got. Yep.
I don't have much. We still haven't heard anything on the new sweeper. I was waiting to do the hole that we have acquired down in front of the dockside. We were supposed to have the Hogs and motorcycle show over the this weekend, but they canceled that. So we're gonna get that opened up now that we don't have to have an open hole down there for that. We started hauling our street sand. It's always I always hate to say it, but, so we're starting to haul that. We're hauling out of, Clayton this year. They've got a little bit different mixture. We'll be hauling in about 400 tons of street sand to get that done. We have had an issue with the sewer main on Otter Street section that was bad. It's called Orangeburg, but we fixed 20 feet of it and reconnected it to Cass. So now it's the Orangeburg. It's a glorified roll of tar paper is what it is. It's the same consistency as tar paper, like you would take the center of it out, usually a squish of ground. Here, it was still only 2 foot under the ground, so actually it just started breaking, was all I was doing. So we've got that done, so that hopefully out of our hands now, so that's just about it.
Excuse me. We want to thank you for all the work for all of our summer events for this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Lee?
Tony?
Just a couple items. I guess I'd like to bring the board up to speed on our procedure for tall grass. We've got quite a few complaints this year, and some of the people think it's maybe a high priority thing that needs to be laid. If I get a complaint, they get a letter sent to them. They have 72 hours to correct it. And when the letter goes out, I put a letter in the DPW slot, knows the time frame for that, and then they work it in as they can with their daily duties and stuff with it. If they get any pushback from payers or village residents, that's how we handle it. It's got to be on an official complaint form with it. And some of them are kind of impatient, getting it done, but it does get done. But again, it's however Jarrett can work it in with. And the other one is comp plan tomorrow at 4. Close. I like to yield the floor to Russ, who's our chairman of it, and let him kind of explain our next step.
Throw me under the bus, huh?
You bet.
So we're getting very close to tying up all the details on our zoning update. We're having the meeting tomorrow. We're going to submit it to the county. They should have it done in 2 weeks, and then we're going to shoot for the next board meeting. We're trying to get that so that we can do that hearing to present it to the public and to you for comment and possible approval. An offshoot of that, last meeting, Mr. Burrows had suggested perhaps we wait and not do anything on that because the state is supposed to be working on their own version of it. At our last meeting, the members came to a general consensus that we still think we would like to try to work on something. Much confidence that the state is going to be able to do something that's timely and that's tailored specifically for the needs of the village. Theirs is going to be more of a general overview. So since you, the board, had formed this committee, I'm asking you, would you like us to proceed with some short-term rental guidelines or delay it for the state? That's the first question I have for you. The second is that if you would like us to proceed, none of these guidelines mean anything without any enforcement. And I would like to, I know that this has been kicked around before, and I would like the board to consider the possibility of going in with the town and creating and hiring a full-time code enforcement officer to oversee not only short-term rentals, but the building in general that's going on in this area. A lot of it's unchecked. A lot of it has caused problems in the past, cost the town money, AKA the Vasile project is one that stands out. So those are my 2 questions. 1, would the board like us to proceed with short-term rentals? And 2, will the board consider creating a position of a code enforcement officer to oversee these guidelines?
It's something we would have to work into our next year.
Yep.
Have you talked to the town about that? Because aren't they doing their next year's budget now, or shortly?
Judy, I haven't. I've heard rumblings that both the town and the village have kind of kicked this around a little bit. And I know that the town also has been given the short-term rental guidelines that the town committee came up with. I don't know if what their timeline is on that, whether they reject them or whether they even look at them. But again, I know the village and the town have considered this possibility to hire a full-time officer. Perhaps the short-term rental will be the catalyst that says maybe it's time, we hate more government layer, more government regulations, but this may be the time to consider a position to do that.
I'll talk with Mr. Sweet tomorrow, or I'll call him tomorrow about.
Have any
Talking
other
about the
communities
code
done
enforcement.
anything like this that you're aware of, or researched it at all?
We've actually gotten some guidelines, Old Forge and Lake Placid have some pretty comprehensive and almost draconian guidelines. And they have I know that they have enforcement. And something that's very interesting, Dick, is many years ago, I used to own a short-term rental in a different place. But they had very strict guidelines in place at the time, and I spoke to the code enforcement officer down there because I've been picking his brain, and he had said the exact same thing without prompting. He said, you can have all the guidelines in the world, but if you don't have consistent and fair enforcement, it's meaningless. So, but yes, there are other local places closer by that do have guidelines and enforcement in place.
Could I ask a question? Would it be possible if the village and town, in looking into this, did a 20 hours a week for the village, 20 hours a week for the town proposition also for that position? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there as a shared service type of.
Well, I think,
both
Molly,
places.
I think that might make sense.
Mhm.
One of the issues that we have right now is Mr. Crump out of Watertown is the code enforcement officer up here. But he has his fingers in a lot of other things. And through all my contracting and property ownership, I have come to firm conclusion that if presence in the full time, things don't get swept up and things are a little more above board.
There are certain things, the state building code that has to deal with. Anything under 144 square feet does not fall under a building code or inspection. If it's not greater than 28 inches off the floor or ground, it doesn't get involved. So just because someone gets a zoning permit doesn't necessarily need a building permit. And Jason feels there's a lot of things in the state property maintenance code that are very gray too. And 'cause we've had discussions about, does this need to be looked into and stuff. So he's had enough experience dealing with the county attorney and stuff, with it. There's a lot of gray areas in the state building code with it. One thing, financially, it does not cost the village or the town any money for code enforcement out of the county. We thought at first it was a shared service, and it's not. I don't know how they do their budget, whether the income from the building permits covers their operating part, I don't know. But Lake Placid has a very tough ordinance also. Old Forge, talking with those people down there, their short-term rentals is tough. And they do need an inspector there to go through and follow up on all of the regs and stuff with it. But the taxpayers in Old Forge do not want short-term rentals. That's why they have such a tough ordinance to it.
And Lee, if I may add, if you do proceed with a code enforcement officer, it would not be just for short-term rentals. It would be to oversee building projects in general, yeah. So it wouldn't be, it's not just specifically for short-term rentals,
Right.
that would be just,
It'd be all the codes.
just a part of, right, a part of the responsibility.
So do we want towards the short-term rental? I think, yes, go ahead.
No, you said you thought within 2 years the state would come out at the last meeting with, rules.
The state's working on them, and I agree with Russ that, you know, far be it from me to think that the state's gonna be quick as far as how it's gonna address it. But they're supposedly working on it to have some guidelines statewide. But certainly, whatever they do, I'm sure they'll also allow for fine tuning with municipalities, because one size doesn't fit all. So I appreciate the wisdom of what he's saying. I just had no real guidance from the state and whether, how quickly they're gonna be providing any documents for anybody.
Well, I think we should proceed, because you don't wanna wait till the state does their thing, and it's 2 years, and it takes us another year to come up with rules and regulations for short-term rentals, which are becoming a concern in the village, because some people love them, and you live next to them, some people hate them, and we're starting to hear more about it. And the code enforcement person, I mean, I thought we should have one part-time for a long time, and if we're allowing a code enforcement person to do their job, shouldn't their salary be pretty much covered by the permits and things that they have to deal with? How does that work? In a lot of
I
towns?
don't really know, I don't know for sure, Judy, how much of that's covered by permits. One of the biggest things that we wanted to make absolutely sure that we talked about in this meeting is that whatever permit fees that you instate for, the short-term rentals, it can't be conceived as just a money grab. It's gotta be enough to cover some administrative stuff, but not where people are saying, you're charging me.
Can't be punitive.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, what were you saying, how much, is it $800 in Old Forge or something like that?
$800 for a 2-year permit.
Yeah, you know, I think, and Judy, I think one of the things
We
to
have to be
consider is
realistic.
a good code enforcement officer that's in the area will also prevent issues, and I keep going back to the Basile thing because I'm familiar with it. How much did that cost the village to fight that? Whereas a code officer that's on top of things would have prevented that from happening in the first place. So it's not only are you're gonna collect a fee, but you're also potentially heading off
Saving money.
legal costs
Right.
down the road.
I think we
I
should.
thought we had said at the last meeting, I thought you had, what I remembered was you had asked, could you do it in 2 stages? Because you wanted to get the comprehensive to us, and then do the short term after. I thought they were going, that's what I thought the plan was, to move
Well, we had
forward
talked
with
about
it.
that, Sandy, and then when Mr. Burrows had brought up his question is, do we really proceed with this, or do we wait for the state? Again, that's why I'm asking whether you would like us
I
to
hate
proceed
to
since
wait
you
for the
appointed
state
us.
Yeah,
because
I don't think waiting for the state is a good idea. At least get some
Ball
ideas and
rolling,
thoughts.
yeah.
I know the town, they have taken what their committee gave to them, they have given it to their zoning for their zoning input, because they're very concerned about enforcement and how my impression from sitting in on meetings is they're not really interested in being highly regulatory, because they're of the concern of how do you enforce, because you don't want to impose a whole bunch, you know, and they're dealing it just down at Goose Bay with their new, local law for the parking lot down there, you know, so consequently, the supervisor's driving down to Goose Bay once a day to check vehicles, and he's like, I don't wanna get into this rental thing. He's like, you know, I
Right.
can't keep doing that. So I think it's good to get some ideas of what we might possibly like, and then figure out a way to get there.
Mhm. And Sandy, one of the other issues too is that the zoning officer does not have the authority for a lot of the guidelines that the short-term rentals have. They are more for code enforcement instead of zoning.
Right.
Right, it's also gonna take some time in the office, because at some point, are you gonna have a short-term rental registry? You know, how is that all gonna work? And I think we should look into it. I don't think we should wait till the state does their thing. You know,
So it's your
instead of, I'll make a motion that we encourage your group to proceed checking into and making rules, or procedures for the short-term rentals under your comprehensive plan.
Could I have a clarification?
Okay.
Do you want us to try to incorporate something now, work on the zoning changes, and then continue on with the short-term rental?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, you mentioned motion about going ahead with it. Okay, that puts the zoning changes on hold, because we're close to bringing it to the public.
Separate from the comprehensive plan that you're gonna
No,
bring
this is
next
part of
month?
the comprehensive plan, the zoning part of it,
Okay, so you're gonna bring that to us next month?
right? But do you want us to proceed with the comp plan changes and then keep working on short-term rentals?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, what he said.
What you said.
Then move forward.
Second.
Second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Demo, that we proceed with the short-term rental rules investigation for the committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Can I go back to grass?
Yes. Specifically?
Tall grass. At the post office, you have the road that goes down where the trucks go. There's a strip of land with weeds higher than me, that goes all the way down. Is that strip of weeds village or post office? I knew you were gonna look like that.
It is unsightly.
Don't answer it. No.
Leaving it there. Technically, it is the post office. This was a whole thing that went back to the guardrail that was there. So that's why I laughed, because there used to be an old guardrail there, and it was, should the village fix it, or is it the post office? So again,
So wait, you're talking about,
Rail pen.
this goes down and then there's a lot that goes
Yeah,
around?
the village parking lot's here.
On this,
Their
okay.
driveway goes down
Yeah.
where the trucks go. In between there is this area,
Yeah,
and then, I was in the post office today, they had 3 complaints because on the outside post office box, there's trees growing. And now the tree roots are gonna start going over the the sidewalk. So this lady went in, she went up to put her letter in the blue mailbox, she tripped and went crashing into that mailbox. So she went in, and all she got was, I'll tell the postmaster, who I think's a mistress, I don't think it's a master right now. But nothing ever gets done.
I can take a look at it tomorrow and see how far out it is. We might start bringing them over up in there.
Do you know if the post office is leasing this building or if they own it?
They lease it.
They lease it.
They lease it.
oh, who owns that building?
Cause
Same
that lot
guy
was
was owned it
donated to
forever.
the lot was donated to the post office.
Yeah, there's a name on that.
Over the mystery.
I'll take a look at it.
Some of those weeds are pretty weeds, I mean, they're not bad looking weeds, so.
Oh, and did we cut, if you're going, on Rockwell, if you're going up to the water tower, we cut our normal side there, and did we cut on to the right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, because I heard about that this week.
Yes, we did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So,
Yep, I'm good.
anything else, Lee? Russ?
No, that's it.
Police report, the police department had 43 complaints, 0 arrests, 0 vehicle and traffic tickets issued, 2 warnings, 3 parking tickets issued, 1 warning, and 15 building checks. Old business, ready and streetscape. Hi, Gregor.
How's everybody doing? Start with the Ready project. So remaining items, I think at the last meeting I talked about the lighting on the Riverwalk. S&L Electric has, their trailer back on site and they plan to start running the conduit this week. Next week, DC will be on site and we'll be working on removing some of the boards on the deck of the Riverwalk and doing the structural members to support those lights. They also plan on working on a list of remaining items that have been identified. There's not many items left, but a few items that they have to address before the contract closes out.
Are they also gonna do the light on the main Upper James Street dock?
Yes, so S&L will also be working on the conduit for those and installing the bollard lights,
For both the upper and lower.
upper and lower, yep. But it sounds like they'll start on the Riverwalk first. So Jarrett, regarding the list of remaining items, if you have anything that you wanna include on that list, just let me know, we can,
Tim got ahold of me today, so.
okay. Did he review the list with you, what they're working on? Okay.
And then we'll come up with the punch list.
Yep, exactly. So they've been given a punch list and that's what they're working against right now. Other items of railings, that question came up. DC expects the railings to be delivered next week. And when they're on site, they'll, work to get those installed. And then once those are installed, we'll do a startup on the lift and make sure everything's working properly and probably won't get much use this fall, but it'll be ready to go next spring.
Is there much to winterize that, or is there any need for winterizing?
No, I don't think there's much to winterize. Should be, pretty much self-contained, so.
Probably to lock it up, turn off the electricity and so forth for the,
It would make sense for the, late fall and went through the
For the
winter
winter.
to shut down.
Yep.
So that's, most everything on the Ready project. Any questions on anything associated with the Ready project?
the comments I've been receiving, it's just, everybody is just totally amazed at the whole project throughout the village. Just high praises for it.
How do we get the big cruise ships to stop and use a new dock?
Well, that we have to,
That was, you contacted
yeah,
them,
I have to start all
and-
over again with that. Now that we're officially done and I can get told what length of ship we can.
That's what, 180?
Yeah, it's around 200
Something like
feet.
that. But there's a process you have to go through. You gotta start, it's not Homeland Security. I have a whole folder.
Initially, they told us, we don't wanna hear about it until it's
Until it's
completed.
done.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, once we're done. Yeah, I have that out.
Which,
That would be so cool.
that'd be another nice feather in a hat for the village. It's just beautiful down there.
Yeah. When you go, out on the Upper James Street dock, Jarrett, there's a bollard down there and there was something on it. Was it a first aid kit or something?
It's a,
Like,
Yeah,
What was it?
it's a throwable device, a throw ring.
it's
it's
a
missing.
someone goes in the water.
Yeah.
Okay, it's missing, so we need another one of those. Unless it just showed up, but it's gone. Okay.
Of course, it's, you can't put anything out nice and have it stay nice, like the
Just can't have anything.
railing at Utter Street being backed into and destroyed, and now we have to fix it. Yes, sir.
So other updates, since the last meeting, we submitted the WIA, which is Water Infrastructure Improvement Act, the funding application for the wastewater project. So it was submitted on August 10th. Other items,
When did that decision get made?
I would expect that late fall would be, based on previous years, that's what I would anticipate.
You know, if we got that and we won New York Forward or DRI, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves.
That's the other update. Tomorrow there's a meeting for DRI application. It's at 9 a.m. tomorrow, right here in the village office. The deadline for that application is the 29th, and based on all of the, applications so far, there's a significant number of projects, and should be able to put together a good application for that program.
And if anybody heard about it, I drove around over the weekend taking pictures of all of these addresses, because I did have people come out and ask me why I was taking photos, and I know Cindy was taking photos too, so Gregor got all the photos.
Got all the photos.
I have one more coming tomorrow, which is gonna be the Reformed Church. They want to redo a walkway that they have from behind the church down, I was over there, but it's all overgrown, down a
Okay.
set of, they wanna put in a set of steps and then take it out to their parking lot in the street. So that's not official yet, he's gonna send that over tomorrow.
Okay.
But, yeah, we have quite a few applications or proposals.
Yeah, a lot of, private interest in the
Yeah.
program, which is good, that's what they want.
Right.
The only other update I had is that Tim Maloney has been in the village, you've probably seen him, Jarrett, and he's, starting to do some verification for the water project. So if there's any questions or calls, that's what, Tim's doing, he's checking for some of the utilities, verifying that, and then our survey crew will come back and identify those for the plans.
And we're just waiting for the official go, because I asked him, he called before he got here today because he knew I would call, because
Call the ESC.
we are
Yeah. See if they had any
chafing at the
updates.
bit to want to start with get new water meters and the new water meter reading system.
Which is top priority.
Right. And that would save a ton of time.
Definitely. So that's all I have for, unless there's any questions.
Well, and while we're talking about that, we've had some discussion over the last couple of weeks about unmetered water in the village, and we are beginning the process to make sure that more of the village buildings, bathrooms, things like that are metered, so we can account for unmetered and or lost water, and lost is considered leakage, but unmetered we're working towards. I know they bought a piece of equipment that when they go to flush, explain it, fire hydrants, they'll now be able to put a meter on that tells them how much they use. You do that one time, you should be able to figure. You know, we're gonna put a meter on the dock bathrooms, the pavilion, you know, just little things like that that we've never had metered, and we will be able to get a better handle on that.
The 3 cemeteries are not metered either. So,
That'll
Yeah,
be-
new meters should help with the accuracy too. A lot of the meters are fairly old in the village, so.
And old meters read slow, which is part of our problem.
Correct.
So, once a
are
week,
you saying age, we slow down?
I guess.
Good. Streetscape. We have had issues with the Holland Street boat ramp. We met with state officials back May 5th, and we were assured it was right the way it was. It's not. Couple met with Supervisor Sweet, town board members, Charles
Okay.
Pryor from EDR, Scott Thornhill from Dank, several other people to look at Holland Street, slabs separating. The very last piece that was put in the water, we were totally assured it was a full piece. It is not, it's a half a sheet cut at an angle. Speaking with Supervisor Sweet the other day, state stepped in with the EDR and contractor. They're putting a package together to redo that. Is correct, at the correct length. They have to get another permit for the berm to get the water out. They're working on that, and we were assured that it will not cost the town or the village another penny.
Oh, the state's
And-
gonna pay for it.
And once we get that in writing, we owe the town, out of 311,000, we owe them 111,000, so once that's done, that the paperwork's here saying it will not cost you, then we are going to make sure the town gets full reimbursement. That was with Mr. Swade. Anything else under projects?
No, I don't have anything.
Thanks, Gregor. Number 2 is to vote to deviate from the intermunicipal agreements we have with the towns. We were discussing water rates with town of Alexandria, and one of the topics that has now come to an issue is how we calculate water rates to the towns. In the past, we've done it by how much water has been produced versus metered water that is sent to the 5 town of Alexandria districts. And the topic of the lots missing unaccounted for water that the village has was, should the outside agencies be paying for what the village is losing? And some people are saying it doesn't matter, that's the way the agreement is, but then again, others are saying that's not fair to the outside agencies, and I totally agree. If we're not totally accountable for all of our water, the outside agencies should not have to pay for it. So, it's a significant change in the water rate. 3 districts, if we go with the produced water, it's gonna be $11.25 per 1,000 gallons. If we go with metered, it will be almost $4.50 cheaper for them. So, we've sent paperwork to town of Alexandria, town of Teresa, Orleans, and Clayton for them. We've notified them of their 2 different rates and what we all need to vote on as to how we're going to address the current water rates set for January 1st of 2024. Correct?
Correct.
So, I would like to have a vote to deviate from the current IMA of produced water, and this is for this year's water rates, not for forever, but for right now, until we can settle the IMAs, if we do have a meeting on that, to change it from produced water to metered water, and lower the water rates to the outside agencies.
Are you saying that backwards?
I was just gonna say something.
I think you're saying that backwards because...
If we have produced water, the produced water, the higher number,
That's billed water.
yes.
That's billed usage. And what we would like to change it to is water withdrawn from the river, that total.
It's the metered water going to the town districts. Not what we produce and lose, but what they are receiving.
No, we're basing it on the 96 million, which is water actually withdrawn from the river. That brings the rate down. That's the second sheet that we
Okay,
voted
so
on.
I said it.
So we want to,
So I am going backwards.
yeah. That comes with age.
Thank you.
So I will make a motion. I think we've all seen this. Anybody have any other questions on it? And what we're doing is, and we've sent these letters, and Attorney Burrows has the letters and has discussed it. And what we would do is we would vote to deviate from the IMA agreement this one time while we are doing this. Correct, Attorney Burrows?
That's what I understand, yes.
Why is it just this one time?
Because more discussion has to be had. Somewhere along the way there was, because Thomas remembers that, you know, and it came at the last meeting, or the first meeting, it was a matter of interpretation. And I guess some of it can be interpreted, that's just a part of the process. So rather than have everybody jump into, we're not in the process right now of changing the IMA agreements. That they take a lot more work, and technically the next go-around for changing the IMA agreements is in 2025. This at least gets us where we need to be for January 1, because the town has to advertise and do their thing. And the other three, is it three? It's actually two. Clayton and Orleans, town of Clayton and Teresa has to vote to deviate this one time. And rather than get everybody thinking that we have to sit here right now and change the IMA agreement, deviating from this for this time makes it work now, and then if there is further discussion, that can happen. Changing the IMA agreements is going to be a major project.
When you say this time, you mean 2024?
2024, yes, we will give them the rates.
You're not starting now in 23, just gonna,
No.
January 1st.
January 1st, yes.
Well, and the other aspect with it is, in 2013, the DEC changed their regulations on water withdrawal permits. The village started, I think, 2014 to get a new water withdrawal permit, and the DEC, it's been percolating for 10 years. The village right now is kind of on the cusp of getting a new water withdrawal permit. I think the last piece of the puzzle now is going to be, Gregor, you were involved with it today, but the town of Alexandria has to certify each of its 5 districts. Teresa and Orleans Clayton have certified it, and those other towns have met the other requirements. I think Alexandria has met the other requirements except for the certifications. I reached out to the town of Alexandria's attorney today, gave him the certification forms. He's trying to get it, but the DEC's website doesn't work real well. It's not user friendly. So he's got the certification forms. So we think he's going to have that, get that to you, which means that you can close that loop and get the water withdrawal permits that we desperately need. The DEC requires the IMAs as amended, all to have it as part of its packet for it. So we really don't want to upset the apple cart and say, okay, let's go back and revisit all of the IMAs right now, because it would probably push off the water withdrawal permit for at least another year or so.
And we've been how long trying to get this water withdrawal permit?
10 years.
Okay, so if we start, just so we all understand, if we start redoing IMA agreements right now, that's it with our water withdrawal permit, the DEC is going to come to us someday and say, what are you doing?
Yep.
And you need to get the water withdrawal permit, because the last thing we want is A, to be fined, or for somebody to say, you don't have the ability to withdraw water from the river because you don't have a permit. So we have to finish, finally, the water withdrawal permit, and then do this, and then when the towns involved in the IMAs want to sit and actually do it, that's what then that gets done. But that's not till after at least the first of the year, when we have the water withdrawal permit signed and in our hands.
Yeah, so what this process really would do, if we approach it like this, is that, number one, make sure that the village and each of the 4 towns can continue to get water for all the residents, and satisfy the DEC so we don't have any issues with the DEC. Number 2, to immediately provide relief to each of the 4 towns with the adjusted deviated rates starting January 2024. And since that would then follow for the whole year, it gives everybody a chance to catch their breath and say, okay, what changes do you as the board and the other boards want to make, if any, with the IMAs, et cetera. And it sounds to me like it's a question of changing the interpretation as far as the calculations. and clarifying the definition. It probably won't be that dramatic at that point, but the key is let's not upset the apple cart right now, the DEC.
Okay.
Take a vote.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to deviate from the IMA agreements. The first one was 8/1/23, the second numbers redone, and we discussed it at a meeting, and all the numbers were given to the town for this one time, so we can have these numbers in effect for January.
1 second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany, to deviate from the current IMA for rate increases to the town for this January 2024. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Caputo,
No.
trustee Campany,
Yes.
trustee Demo,
Yes,
trustee Fulmer,
Yes?
and Mayor Jarvis.
Yes. I think that's it for old, new business, set fall cleanup date.
16th through the 20th,
Thank you.
What is it?
October 16th through the 20th, fall cleanup?
Oh, for the streets,
Yes. Yeah,
picking up garbage.
yeah, that'll get me in.
They started
done in time.
calling today. People are already calling. When's cleanup?
Switch the order. I don't wanna be the first, I don't wanna be Monday, I wanna be Friday.
Do you?
No.
I'm never ready on Monday.
I know.
Flip it, Jim.
Is that just for brush?
No, that would be like mattresses, carpets, appliances,
Just no tires or batteries.
so,
Yeah, but don't we still have to pay $10 per mattress?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mattress fee is still in effect, yes.
Chairs, all that.
All kinds of stuff.
Books, shelves, stuff, house.
Was it, somebody asked me today if it was village, what was Saturday?
Last weekend was village. Yard
Yard
Yard, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, 'cause somebody, I said, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't
They don't have to
remember,
drive anymore.
was it advertised?
No.
Oh, okay.
chamber, that was, well, I mean, you could set up and let the chamber know your dates and stuff,
Oh, okay.
but fall one's not always quiet. The spring one's crazy, the fall one's very quiet.
Yep.
For some reason.
except if you're selling Christmas tree stuff. You're looking for that.
Number 2 is record retention. Molly brought it to attention, today, but we have records going back to 2011,
10, 11,
2010,
even some of the miscellaneous were.
that we need to have shred. Thanks, Gregor.
Thank you.
So everyone knows, when Shred-it comes, we do on-site. So the village, we watch, they pull a big truck up to the side of the building. We take our baker boxes out, we dump everything in, and we watch everything, every record that goes out of here. So there's no handling of our stuff, you know what I mean, nobody's looking at your records. And we are following the record retention for our archives. That's why everything here is listed, and, we're trying to do some good catch-up and clean up and reorganize in that back
What
room,
did you say,
so.
40 boxes?
46, I have between
46.
43 and 46 boxes when I'm all said and done. Yep, and it's all old, you know what I mean, that can be destructive.
Legally can be
yeah.
destroyed.
No,
Payroll.
and reporting paperwork is included in there.
What did you
And
say
a
the
lot of our
approximate
things
cost
is all
was?
archived. So it's gonna cost us between $400 and $500 for all of it. We get like 15 boxes free and the rest all goes. Plus, as anyone understands, now of our new days of computers, we have a cloud, a large cloud. All of this, most of this stuff's right in there. All our water and sewer, all of our, bank statements are not there. Well, we have CDs of those, which we keep also. But like, all our records, sewer bills, water bills, they're all here. We're just getting rid of the paper part of it. I have, like I said, we store everything in our cloud base now. You can pull all this up, or we can go into the cloud-based, companies we use for this and pull everything up we need.
Okay.
Make it room for more.
I'll make a motion to allow the records on Molly's, list of record destruction to go forward.
I'll second it.
Excuse me. Motion by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Demo, to allow for the records to be destroyed by shred it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just have one question, the court paperwork, I know they're real funny up there about destroying court paperwork.
Okay,
Is there
so-
anything?
All of the court, mostly that we have, is at the town, most of it.
Okay.
We sent all of the records. We do have a few things that we have in here. Anything that we have from this court paperwork is old booklets. Nothing is any record.
Okay.
It's all the old books, train, you know, where they went and all these, all the
Okay.
work they did at classes, that's all.
Okay, that was just my only question.
Yeah.
I'm in favor. Have fun. It
Thanks.
feels great, because I know I've done.
I'm
it.
ready to purge, it's time.
Dear village board members, the village office like to be approved to be closed on all federal bank holidays. Sincerely, village office staff.
What aren't we closed for now? I thought we did.
There's still,
There's I think a couple, and I'm sorry, Erica wrote that up today. We wrote that up today. I didn't pull the full list. I think there's, what's the new one? Juneteenth and one other one.
Is there 8 days?
So we get what, 6, Jarrett? We get 6, right?
Yeah.
6 or 7.
What was the day that we asked Steve? It was someday, it wasn't too long ago.
oh my God.
What was
Yeah,
that?
Juneteenth, I think
Because
it
the
was.
school was, there was another one too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything was
It was
closed.
in the
Banks were
spring.
closed.
Everything
Yeah,
was
it was in
closed,
the
but
spring.
they were still
Well,
working.
how does this impact, is this the same list that the DPW is not working?
I don't think so.
Because we changed, we added to their dates, and didn't we say we were adding to yours too at that time?
You gave us what they had. I think there's one more holiday, one more or something for us. But we don't have a contract, remember?
Right, so you're saying it just needs to be voted on because we
Correct,
talked about that?
yeah.
Okay. And I think it takes it from 7 to 11,
Days.
11 holidays?
No, I don't think it goes to 11, does it? I don't know, honestly, I'm sorry.
I move.
I wasn't part of this.
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion by trustee Campbell, second by trustee Fulmer, to allow village staff, office staff to be closed on all federal holidays. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else?
So if you guys wanted to know, the outfit that owns the post office is under Timothy LLC. And if I pronounce it wrong, it's, he's out of Nunda, N-U-N-D-A, New York, is the sole owner of the post office.
Nunda,
Nunda.
kind of like Nunya.
Yeah, it's Timothy LLC.
Right.
I know where that is.
I can only
Down in
remember,
the southern tier. If you go straight down from Rochester on 390, Nunda is right around there.
but yeah.
I know where it is.
Public concerns? Any public concerns?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
One second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campbell, to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?